I get a cut. I think I'm top 5. Top 5.
Top 5 side ones, track ones.
Hey, what's happening?
How's it going?
Very good. This
Good.
is Top 5.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Today we have a very special guest.
Hey, my name's Colin.
What up, Colin?
It's top 5. Top 5 from 84.
Records from 84.
Yep.
Cool.
I can get behind that. A lot of people think that there aren't as many good records in 84, but you know what? I think maybe they're not looking hard enough. Maybe you're a lazy listener who believes that everything prior to 84 is better. And if you are, listen carefully because we have some hits
15
for
of
you.
15.
Exactly 15 hits, okay?
And I have some comps on there, so it's
Oh, very smart.
Good year for comps. I
there were
did not
there were
include
actually
comps.
there were a lot. There was like numerous to choose from. One, should I go first?
Always, yeah.
Yeah, get
Oh,
right
yeah.
into it. Number 5. Start with number 5.
Yeah, number 5. I switched this twice already, and I'm just right now decided to go back to it. 1984. Shout out to Marky Smith. It's his birthday today.
Hey, happy birthday, Marky.
The Wonderful and Frightening World of the Fall came out in 84. That was going to be my pick. Then I switched to Cron Jen, Nowhere to Run, but I had to go back to this because it's just so, like, iconic. And so much good stuff was on it. And it turned a lot of people, I think, onto a lot of stuff. It was the Repo Man Repo Man soundtrack.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Because you can't beat the Plugs' Real 10. One of the greatest songs known to man. The Iggy Pop and Steve Jones song, the intro track, and then they do it at the end with vocals. It's really good.
Is the lounge act of the Circle Jerks on there as well?
Yeah, that's kind of one of the not as good
It's
ones.
it's a novelty, but you know, I'm glad
But
it's
it's
on
good.
there for posterity's sake,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, but I don't know. That was probably the first time I ever heard any of those bands, renting the VHS of it as a kid and thinking punk was pretty cool, and then deciding that's what I wanted to do for the rest of my life.
And here you are.
Here we are.
So that'll be number 5. Real 10. It's a really good song. Beautiful.
I love that. Yeah, such a good song. You had to put it in there.
And apparently, when I was reading about this, I was reading on a message board about the song, the Iggy Pop and Steve Jones song. It's one of Iggy Pop's favorite songs he ever did. Someone asked him outside of a show what his favorite stuff was he ever did, and apparently that's one of them.
You know, for this particular criteria of albums of 84, my initial thought was like, well, Iggy, I'm sure, did something that I'm familiar with. He did.
Yeah,
Actually, he may not have, but it made me reevaluate his whole solo career. And I'm like, why do I love this guy so much?
84 is a year a bunch of bands skipped. We were just talking about because there was a bunch. I was like, shoot, I bet they probably put something on them.
Yeah, like
not putting on.
bands that have been around for a number of years or a better part of a decade or longer. All of them seem to have taken a break on 84, so I wonder if there was a memo that went out and said, hey, listen, things are changing, so you might want to just hang out for a second while we figure out what we're doing.
I
But
think
yeah,
that was it. Yeah.
must have been it. Ian, what do you got, man?
I have a great hardcore record.
Okay, I'm excited to hear. What do you got?
Agnostic Front, Victim in Pain.
Victim in Pain. That's the one people really like.
I'm one of those people.
All right.
It's fast. It's angry. It's 11 songs in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Killer hardcore record.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people would fight you on that.
Early use of gang vocals. I don't know about the earliest. Very early use of like dupa 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 drums. Definitely had already happened in the UK, but not so much American hardcore thing. Sick breakdowns.
Was Victim in Pain their first record?
Yes.
Okay. That's kind of what I thought. Yeah, New York historically late to the hardcore game, but I'm glad they got there eventually.
I mean, they were still getting over the first wave of punk, probably.
I mean, they got hit pretty hard by that
Yeah.
first wave, so I'm not surprised that it took a minute for them to adjust and have to come back with their own shit.
What do you got?
Me? I'll tell you what I got. I have what I believe to be a killer hardcore record, which I think is vastly underrated and overlooked. Articles of Faith, Give Thanks. Chicago-based hardcore band. Album came out in 1984. I think it was recorded in 83, so it was on the cusp. But it still really marks a progression in the music that I think a lot of the hardcore scene did follow. But I think they did it much better. And I think for me, it's an album that if it came out, say, in 94, 2004, 2014, 2024, I still think it would be a really cool hardcore album. Like, no matter the time frame. I think it's incredibly unique. And I think the vocalist has some of the best yells in hardcore. It's like Articles of Faith, I just don't think get enough appreciation. And that's why I have to, because actually a lot of great records came out this year, but this one in particular I had to put on there. And I'm sure a lot of people who are listening have listened to Articles of Faith or own the record, but it's more likely, like myself included, they have the Volume 1 comp, which is 81 to 83. So this falls in on there. It's the last 10 tracks on that Volume 1, even though technically that LP came out in 84. So just wanted to put that out there, and someone was like, well, that's actually on the blah, blah, blah. Well, no, not really. It came out in 84. It was an album before the 95 reissue. So, but yeah, Articles of Faith, Give Thanks. And I give thanks to that record today.
Very good.
Yeah. They're on something that I picked later.
Oh, cool.
But, yeah. Well, we're going to number 4. I'm going to go with Celtic Frost, Morbid Tales, the first LP by Celtic Frost, after they switched from Hellhammer. Because my friend Frank Burkhart turned me on to them a long time ago, and I thought they were very cool. We called them avant-garde metal, which is kind of weird, but I don't know. I feel like they got more avant-garde later, but this one was still pretty rockin', kind of punk. My friend Gabe from the Riffs bought it for me at a record store in Little Rock, Arkansas, on our first tour.
He walked in there and he said,
We saw it on the wall, and I knew I
knew it, you
shouldn't
wanted
have
it?
spent that much money on it, but he got it for me, which was very nice. And
What a nice
it
guy.
said members of Hellhammer on it, and I traded it a couple years later for some crappy 70s punk records, which I still regret to this day.
Well, that's a very nice gesture. Johnny said some very nice things about Gabe, too, on his episode not too long ago.
Well, that's cool, man. Hell yeah. But Morbid Tales, it's probably my favorite Celtic Frost record. I had something else, but I just did one last check today, and I really didn't want to leave this record behind.
This is what's important to us, So that's why we're having you on the show, Colin, is because we want to know what you think about the year 1984 when it comes to music. So I'm sure it took a minute to figure out what was going to be on your top 5. And, I think we all have moments of remorse on this show if someone says something that's so killer and you're like, no, how did I not put that on my top 5?
Or you forget that your favorite record came out that year.
Yeah.
Just overlooked it. Yeah. That'll probably happen.
Cool, man. What do you got?
My number 4 is only arguably a record. It's a demo, but it's Siege, Drop Dead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Fucking brutal.
Change the world.
Yeah, sure. For a lot of people. Well, yeah.
Anyone who's listening right now thinks I'm sarcastic. I'm not. I fucking
It invented
love
grindcore.
this.
I mean, I think the world would be fine without grindcore or power violence, but
I disagree.
Could have just stopped at Siege. I mean,
Siege
did it
is
all,
great,
but-
but yeah, Siege then opened up the door for incredible bands like Infest, who I absolutely love,
Okay.
and then a little bit later
Yeah.
Crossed Out, who I absolutely love.
Was
The
Sie-
people who laid the groundwork for what we know as power violence today.
was
I mean,
Siege or Heresy first? Heresy was maybe.
I don't. Heresy might. They're from England, yeah.
Yeah. Heresy's got the speed and everything, but the growls
is
and
different.
No.
the
Oh my
the
god.
high pitch to the low. I mean, he's an
The
animal.
song "Conform" on
Yeah.
that record is like, it's one of the most brutal hardcore songs ever. In fact,
And it's like the most musical song on the record. Like
and then when it gets weird with like the saxophone shit on the
the whole
B-side,
B-side, the 8-minute long B-side, one slow jammer.
that is so good. I'm so glad you picked that. I took the route of it wasn't an album, but because it was just released on cassette tape. But somehow this cassette tape circulated and it got all over the place. It influenced Napalm Death.
Big time.
They had a copy of it, and then obviously the band Drop Dead take their name
Yeah.
from that.
Everyone got that tape from Felix Havoc from Minneapolis, right? The Extreme Noise Records guy.
I
Like,
didn't.
he-
I only got it when it came out on a
he used to have a
record.
mail order sheet with all these tape represses. That's where all my friends got all the weird,
Yeah, I think
more obscure hardcore bands.
That's
Relapse
awesome.
was the first to actually put it on vinyl, and I think that was '94.
Sure. Can I tell a quick story?
Please.
So years ago, I worked at a really shitty burger restaurant when I had moved back from Germany, and it absolutely sucked. Every moment of my life sucked. I was shotgunning beers on the walk-in to get through the day. But one day, I was wearing my Siege T-shirt at work, and this woman walks up to me and she's like, "Siege, is that the band from Boston?" I'm like, yeah, I don't think they're really from Boston."
Actually, Weymouth.
But yeah. And she's like, "Oh, that's so funny. I went to college with the guitar player." It's like, "Yeah, he gave me one of those. He gave me one of the cassettes." I'm like, "You're fucking kidding me." This is a suburban mom in there with like her kids just
Do you have
telling me
anything
about.
to say about the tape?
No, she just said that it was a really nice guy. I don't even know she ever listened to
Probably
it.
not.
But I think I was just so like, my jaw dropped. Like, you just have it? I was secretly hoping she'd come back and just be like, "Hey, you know what? Because you are such a fan, here you go." But I'm sure it's been in the dumpster for fucking better part of 2 decades at that point. So, but anyways,
Or
yeah.
maybe she used to love it. Maybe she still does.
Yeah, maybe she warped the fuck out of the tape from playing it so much, which is definitely would have happened if I owned it. Fuck yeah, dude. That's such a great pick. Yeah. Siege, I mean, fucking, I bow to them. They are the best. In fact, you know what? Today, we're cutting out early. And on a high note.
Siege Party.
Oh, sweet. Anything else about Siege?
Listen to that if you haven't.
If you like it as hard as it gets, you got to listen to it. Because that's about as hard as it gets.
What do you got for number 4?
All right. So this is like debatably as hard of a record. All right. This came out in 1984.
Really?
It sure did. This is The Smiths, self-titled The Smiths. It's a great record.
That guy a Nazi.
Well, I don't know what he is now, but in
And
1984, I don't think he
debatably
was.
as hard to listen to. Is that?
For a lot of people, they find it as hard to listen to. Exactly. So, me, it's music to my ears. I love it because it actually is music in my ears when I listen to it. But
He does do
That-
similar.
that's not
to
the one-
High, the high
Does that have
pitch
How Soon Is Now on it? No. I don't know much about the Smiths, but I used to read. I read a really weird thing about How Soon Is Now. How he
what,
ma-
what,
how
what
he
was the
did
weird thing?
just how he produced that weird guitar sound that sounds like it's coming at you out of a tunnel. It's like a really crazy. Now you
Oh.
can just get like a pedal that does it, but like back in the 80s, it was really very complicated thing of bouncing off.
Well, yeah, Johnny Marr is
Johnny
actually
Marr, he's a really good guitarist.
super good, and he started actually, roots in punk, and he started playing he played in like some biker band when he was 13.
Yeah.
Sister
Sledge, Sister Christian,
I want to say Sister Mary.
Twisted Sister.
Twisted Sister Mary. Sister Ray. They were called Sister Ray. But yeah, he was pretty young at the time, and there's only one song I've heard. It's called Suicide. You can find it on YouTube, but yeah, it's really cool. Anyways, he played in this band. He was playing with like fucking wild ass, like drugged out dudes in their 20s, 30s that were just super hard, like biker dudes playing rock early on. And that was kind of like one of his gateways in, but he was really into punk. He loved Slaughter the Dogs, all this shit. And
Yeah. Well, Morrissey was the first singer of Slaughter on the Dogs.
yeah, nothing recorded, right?
Yeah, he just practiced with them, and they thought he was a dork, so they kicked him out.
Well, rightfully so. I don't think Morrissey really could have fit the bill on that one, you know? But yeah, that first Smiths record, it's really great. Like, to me, I've been a fan since I was, 15 or 16 years old. So it's hard for me to pick like a favorite record, but this has so many great tracks on it.
Johnny Marr also lived in Portland.
He did, yeah, because he played with Modest Mouse.
Yeah.
And I was always keeping my eyes peeled for him so I could punish the fuck out of him and ask him about everything. But I never ran into him.
There used to be rumors when I saw the New York Dolls here. There was like a weird guy that looked like Morrissey that was at the gigs. And like people would always say, I guess that's his favorite band, right? New York Dolls.
Yeah.
That's Morrissey's favorite band. And like, yeah, there was some, I don't know if it was, I assume it probably wasn't him.
It was.
It was?
It was.
Okay, I thought there was a Morrissey impersonator that would go to. I don't know.
There are many
but
Morrissey.
Yeah, when New York Dolls did their like last
tour,
Little Stevie thing, there was like all these people were like, "Oh my God, it's fucking Morrissey," and I didn't know or care. But
no, yeah,
but
he managed them on that tour. He's the reason they got back together and did that. Had a big hand in making that documentary. Lizzie Flick.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm sure she was there, yeah.
Yeah, well, she was at Dante's, and the New York Doll show was happening across the street at Barbati's.
That was the show I was at, and that's the same thing I heard that he was hanging out.
Yeah, so
was it true? It was really him?
This is the story I heard. Is that
my lord?
That a guy who looked like Morrissey.
That had to be when Johnny Marr lived here too, but I don't know if they were even friends at that time.
Well, he just likes to, Morrissey's the first one to tell you that Johnny Marr is going to be the guy yelling Johnny Marr at a Morrissey show. Like, he'll be in the crowd just yelling Johnny Marr. So, but apparently Lizzie was at the bar at Dante's, and a guy who looked like Morrissey walked up to her and said, complimented her on her shoes.
Hey, baby, I'm Morrissey. You want to hang out with me?
And then she looked over.
You sure it was him?
Just hang out.
I'm not sure, but apparently then she looked over and it's like, man, that guy looked like Morrissey, is what she said to her then boyfriend Isaiah, and he was like, no, that is Morrissey. The New York Dolls are playing across the street. He's managing them on this tour or something. So, anyways, long-winded what up to the Smiths. They're great. Let us not forget Andy and Mike, because they are the unsung heroes of the band.
Yeah,
I've never even heard those names.
Oh yeah,
the one song I love by them, that song "Half a Person." That's just one song. It's just so good. The guitar is so good. Just the guitar.
Well, I mean,
I like that record, but even on that record, Morrissey bothers me. Just
well, yeah, he's figuring out it's their first record. Give him a break.
Yeah, but he didn't get any better from there.
Well, you know what? We'll have to we're gonna backtrack when we get Jerry A up on here. We'll be backtracking on this. Okay. So,
okay.
But until then, if you haven't listened to the Smiths' first record, don't start now. It's too late for you. Unless you happen to be under the age of 16 years old, then you are like maybe receptive to this. Yeah. Here we go. Colin, what you got?
Okay, man. Enough about the Smiths. Gizm, Detestation, 1984.
Oh, fuck.
Another band that I hate that we're talking Relapse Records again.
They're back.
They just repressed the record. I don't know if it's remixed or remastered. I haven't heard the new one yet, but it's cool. I guess people. It seems to be everyone loved them anyway, but they played a few years ago, and then got that repress. They seem to be going through some renaissance right now. But
I didn't realize that. I thought the singer was dead, but
I'm
still misinformed. Okay.
He's still alive. Yeah, our buddy Suichi. Shout out Suichi from Forward.
What up?
He played guitar at their show at Roadburn when they came back. And it looked like a lot of fun.
Sweet. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the few. I'm not super well versed in a lot of Japanese hardcore, but they are like straight up easy top 5. Easy. We're talking Japanese hardcore, top 5 all day long.
That's one where I'm like, oh shit, I missed that.
Yeah, there's a bunch of records now I know when they came out, because when I was looking at this, I noticed there is a crazy hole in 1984 that a lot of bands that seem like they should have put a record out that year, that put records out in 81, 82, 83, then 85.
85,
86,
yeah.
Didn't do it 84, but yeah, Gizm, Detestation. Great cover, great record. Randy Uchida on
Wild
guitar.
sounds.
Just one of the
Unlike
craziest sounding
anything else.
records ever made. Pretty badass. When I first heard it, it flipped me out.
Dude, I can see your eyes they're going opposite directions, spinning, just thinking about the record right now.
It's pretty badass.
Life changing.
You got a favorite track?
You know, I was thinking about that today. I assumed we'd be playing music on this. But, I wanted to go with Shoot to Kill, because it seems like Endless Blockades, you just kind of hear it all the time, even though it's one of the best songs
For a reason.
ever made.
Yeah, but
Yeah. Nightmare. All these tunes are great. Shoot to Kill, I think, is pretty badass.
Cool.
Yeah.
Anything else on that?
If you are looking for any Gizm merchandise from Beast Arts Official, hit up Outsider Shop. It's our buddy in Portland. He's selling it in America, and he's a cool dude named Tim.
Sweet. So if you're Gizm and you're listening and you want some money, hit up Tim.
Yeah, and it's official.
Yeah, I'm sure he's doing it all legit. Yeah.
Well, take it away, Ian.
Well, I'm going to tone it way the fuck down for number 3.
Way the fuck down? Like Beyond the Smiths tone down? Or
Oh, yeah, you already brought it down.
yeah, you gonna bring it back up a little bit?
Well,
You're going weird, not down. Like down and to the side.
You're going sideways on this. You gonna go sideways?
I'm talking Replacements. Let it be.
Fuck yes, you are.
Gary's got a boner.
Gary's got a boner.
Yeah, that is a really, really good record.
Yeah, and yeah,
It's still got their hardcore songs
got
on it.
moments of aggression.
Yeah, what are you talking about? That record,
Yeah.
that record is hard.
Yeah, but it's
Hardcore.
also got shit like Androgynous and
I'm gonna chime in here
Unsatisfied.
because this is also my number 3 pick as well.
Great. Let's
This
discuss.
is a great record.
Yeah, and part of what makes it so great is the dynamics of it, and the their stuff that sounds more like their early stuff.
Yeah, it's the perfect
coming out.
transition record.
Yeah.
Because for me, the first record I got my hands on, full album by the Replacements, was Tim.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a great record too.
My dad's copy at home.
Absolutely love it.
That was yeah.
However, the first Replacement song I ever heard was off of some single or a comp that my older sister's boyfriend put on a compilation for me when I was 13. So I was expecting more of the Sorry Ma, Forgot to Take Out the Trash stuff. And so I heard Tim, and it was totally shocking in comparison. And then actually, when I got into the band and got familiar with their catalog, Let It Be is it's still as though like my heart and everything is like it's still really around Tim. The fact that Let It Be is
I like Let It Be more than Tim at this point.
yeah, I constantly flip the coin on that because I love both of them a lot, but I feel like Let It Be has like way more punk sounding songs
the
on it.
production alone is less 80s.
Also, I feel like the cover artwork in itself is way more iconic when you see this, group of people sitting on the roof of a house, and it's just like they're in that in itself. As you're looking at, you feel like you're there.
The current owner put a stained glass image of that record cover in the window that they're sitting in front in the house now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
I had no idea. Yeah, and you know what? This is also the song Black Diamond.
Oh,
Can we talk about it?
yeah.
Can we talk about, do we believe it's better than the original version?
I heard it first.
Me too.
At
At least I consciously was not aware that it was a cover when I heard it.
Same.
So, I mean, I'd heard Kiss before, but I can't say that I were like, oh, dude, this is a fucking Kiss song right off the top. I think it was years before I realized that.
What do you think, Colin?
It's a good record.
Yeah, but
Black Diamond by Kiss?
which version of Black Diamond?
Oh, didn't Red Cross do that too?
So which one's better? We're gonna do a 3-way on this.
I mean, the replacements are good. You can't. No one can do Kiss better than Kiss.
Except for
we
this one
tried.
time.
But it is great. Yeah. I mean, I'm a Gary's Got a Boner guy mostly, just because of the title and sound.
No, I think that's a great. I mean,
And we're coming out, right?
Yeah,
That's
the
amazing.
real punk song.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But I mean, it's like Unsatisfied is
oh yeah,
just
my God.
huge. Good track.
Yeah, androgynous too. I think we already mentioned,
Yeah.
but that's like I love the slower jams that they put out. Or they're just so I don't know, pulling at the heartstrings or something. There's just something about the replacements and Paul Westberg and how he can write shit that just kind of transcends to a degree. So I love that song. I love the whole album, but yeah, aesthetically, and I feel like it's the most diverse in sound of their records. Because I feel like there is nods.
Transition record, like you said.
Yeah, it's just like it nods to the past and also is a progression. And I feel like 1984, the year in general, is a year of progression. That's why a lot of people dislike what happened afterwards or during or whatever, or
and
believe
like
or
when-
purists believe that everything before it's better. But there's also such a huge change and shift in sound in this particular year across the world. Really, it's not just singular to America. It's not singular to punk. It's really happening all over the place.
And yeah, I think there were a lot of records from this year. Bands with punk roots deciding that they're over punk or over hardcore, or whatever. Replacements being one of them. And like the
So
idea of
you're saying
pissing off their audience.
What would our year like 84 be? Where bands?
I feel like
2000
we have
2009.
I feel like our
It was
generation
2009. If our
No,
modern day
generation has
equivalent
such
is
a different
2009.
approach to hardcore.
No.
Hardcore was only 3 years old in '84.
Exactly, but I mean the revival of hardcore was only 3 years old here, basically. So I mean, if you think about it, I think 2009 is when the modern day equivalent changed and hardcore died again.
I just like
We'll research this and get back to you.
I think it's like the same people who were saying punk is dead in '79.
It was 78 when they were saying that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, the first people to like something are also the first people to dislike it. Let's
Like
not
Loud,
forget
Proud,
that.
and Punk.
Yeah, but none of these bands, like, it's not like the Replacements or Husker Du or
Or the
Meat
Husker Du
Puppets
Nots.
or like none of these bands were the first bands to play punk or hardcore.
You're right, but they're the first ones to start transforming the sound that we know it
In
as.
one direction, other bands were transforming it in the opposite direction, like Siege
Yeah, and then sometimes they
or
re-meet.
Gizm.
Yeah, it's two extremes. It's definitely a crossroads in music that's happening. But yeah, I couldn't agree with you more because it is also my number 3 pick. Let It Be by the Replacements. Fucking killer record. All right, Colin. What do you got in your number 2 position?
Well, this was hard, but this record, it reminds me of just so many good times hanging with my old friends, Mike Aragon, Matt Brainerd, and all these guys.
Oh, the Defiance Boys. What up?
Yeah, we used to listen to this a lot, and it's just very nostalgic, very good. The Partisans' second LP, The Time Was Right. That's my number 2.
Wow.
And it originally came out on Cloak and Dagger Records. The record company, I got it on, was Link Records, and then it came out on, they repressed it on Captain Oi. I think maybe Get Back, that Italian label, did it too. But it's it's a bunch of studio stuff. It's like way more kind of like the Clash second album rather than their first album. Rather than the Partisans' first album was like pretty fast. UK
Yeah.
82 punk. This is pretty melodic and stuff. It also has their single Blind Ambition is on there. And then the second side of the record is live songs. But the The songs on the first side, the new studio songs are really amazing. The money rolls in. Blind Ambition's a great song. There was an old band in Portland called The Obliterated that I used to go see all the time, and they covered that song, and I didn't know that it was a cover. And I was like, dude, this song's so good.
That song, man.
Yeah, I was like, when are they going to play their good song? And then I was hanging out with Matt once, and he played me the original, and I realized it. They were good, but that was their Blind Ambition's just a really good song.
Their best song was a Partisan song.
Yeah. And I got my copy on Link Records, which was this weird company that from the 80s that like you used to always be able to find weird records.
Mm-hmm.
They all look the same. I think there was like a brick back in the 80s Photoshop brick background with like a diagonal picture of the band. Yeah. Mark Brennan, the former bass player of The Business, owned Link Records. Yeah. And then the other day when I was looking this up, this is really weird, and I was trying to remember exactly what it was, but I believe Link Records had something to do with Orion Pictures. And when they put out Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, Orion was a really new thing back then. He got a bunch of money from that and was able to start Captain Oi. That's what the legend I read.
Read or dreamt.
Or possibly dreamt. But I do remember calling my friend and telling him this in detail, so I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I just didn't research it in the last couple days before doing this. But yeah, The Partisans, Time Was Right. It's one of my favorite records in the world. It's just amazing. Have you guys heard it?
I haven't actually.
I only know the first Partisans record.
Yeah.
Me too, yeah.
I love, but
Well, check it out, guys. It'll blow your mind.
I'm going to have to just
I'll
for...
listen to it at least the A side.
The B-side's good, too. But they do a revamped version of I Never Needed You that's really, really good. It's just amazing. It's one of the best records ever made. And it came out in 1984.
That's
Partisans,
the year,
Time Was Right.
baby. Yeah.
Cool.
Sweet.
Well, my number 2 record also came out in 1984.
Oh, weird. Okay. What do you got?
Youth Anthems for the New Order, Reagan Youth,
Oh, yeah.
which is essentially Volume 1 minus a few tracks.
It's essentially Airheads, right?
No, it's got a much better version of that one song and 7 or 8 other songs.
Yeah, Reagan Youth rocks.
Reagan Youth's best stuff, and fucking killer band.
Yeah, Reagan Youth's incredible, and I actually, you saying that now, I'm kind of perplexed by it because I'm like, that seems so late because that's their debut album, yeah.
Yeah.
So they must have. They have like a couple singles beforehand? Because I'm
They
more
started
familiar.
in 80. They were only around for the duration of Reagan's presidency.
After he left, they're like, well, fuck.
Yeah,
No point for us to be around
89, they broke
anymore.
up. Band's over. They did get back together in the 90s, and that probably wasn't that good. But
For the Bush years.
Well, no, I know there's classic footage with Dave Insurgent with dreadlocks and a tie-dye T-shirt playing a big festival thing.
Probably when
I've
they-
seen the footage. It's incredible. I love it.
yeah,
Probably when there was a renewed interest in them after Airheads came out.
But you can tell they went deep into Volume 2 and were like tripping out hard because
Getting all funky.
once you see a tie-dye T-shirt, which is when I stopped doing acid a number of years ago, I took a tab of acid when I was in Hawaii, and I didn't realize it at the time, but it was the equivalent of 10 hits of your average dose of acid, and I suddenly, like, tie-dye made complete sense to me. It wasn't ironic at all. Like, I straight up, like, oh, I get it.
it's truly beautiful.
Yeah, so, like, now when I
colors of
think
the
back
cosmos.
on watching Dave
looking
Insurgent
into
with
the
dreadlocks
cosmos.
and a
It's
tie-dye
natural.
T-shirt, I'm like, yeah, that makes complete sense. Why
Yeah.
not?
Story of Dave Insurgent, a tragic tale. To his suicide.
Yeah, and his girlfriend who's the killer? Who was the his
They
girlfriend?
caught the killer. So the full
Wait,
the
it's
full deal
suicide
is
or he Or
Well,
it's like Elliot Smith or Kurt Cobain.
Well, not as
No.
badass as Elliot
His
Smith.
girlfriend killed him?
No, his
No, no,
girlfriend
no, no.
got killed
So-
by a serial killer. Have you not
Oh.
heard
yeah.
this?
So
No.
he was beaten in the head, brutalized with a
Damn.
baseball bat during a drug deal.
For the Airheads money.
He was a junkie, put into a coma, and then they had to do a lobotomy to save his life. He comes out of that. He's still getting all fucked up. Started dating a sex worker, and he would, go with her for her to do her thing, and he would wait.
Oh.
She would come back with the money. They would go score drugs, whatever.
Yeah.
One time, he's waiting for her. She never comes
So
back.
the first
No,
thing
but
that-
he was
Oh,
with her when
God.
she left with the guy,
Yeah.
and he is the one who gave the information on the truck that she left in, which led to the arrest. But I can't remember who the killer was, the serial killer.
What his name is?
Yeah.
I don't know his name, but he would. Yeah, serial killer.
What state did it happen in? California?
No, it was in New York.
York.
Oh, it's in New York.
But yeah, I didn't realize that he was actually injured and had the lobotomy. That's all new information to me because this information goes back pre-internet to me. This is all my recollection of this story is completely word of mouth. 16-year-old myself, someone telling me the story, and I couldn't believe it. But yeah, his information, his girlfriend was a sex worker, and he was waiting for her to get back so they could go score, and she never came back, and eventually went to the cops and gave them the information, which led to the arrest of this killer. And we got to figure this out. So we got to figure this out.
Joel Rifkin, man. Joel the Ripper.
Joel the Ripper, man, as many people don't know him as, but
Yeah,
yeah, Joel Rifkin.
He is believed to have killed up to 17 women.
Yeah, between 1989 and 1993. Yeah,
Yeah, that's right, dude. Yeah.
perfect.
Mostly sex workers, all over New York, or New York area, Brooklyn, Manhattan, Long Island.
That's incredibly tragic. It's such a sad story for such a fucking great band, such a great
And
dude.
as if
But
that
it gets
wasn't
better.
enough,
It gets
as
better,
if that
right?
wasn't enough, in the same week,
Because didn't you say his suicide?
yeah. Well,
So after these
after
two
that,
great things.
his girlfriend's murdered by a fucking serial killer, and then his dad drives over his mom. And
oh
kills
yes, his
mom.
mother dies. I didn't know his
Oh,
dad drove over him. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Killed his mom, so he loses his girlfriend and his mom after being lobotomized.
Fuck.
This is horrible.
You think the lobotomy would have actually made this easier to take?
And then he died of a drug overdose.
Okay, so it wasn't a suicide. Originally, when I heard the
I
story,
mean,
I thought it was a
Actually,
suicide.
It's kind of better than
It was a suicide.
he wanted to die,
Yeah.
but maybe he finally felt good.
I can't say that I blame him at all. Yeah, man, that's fucking sad, man. Reagan Youth was a great band.
Yeah.
In fact, I have some old Misfits footage from a Halloween show in 1982 where Glenn, in a break between songs, was like, "This one goes out to our friends from New York City who came out tonight. This one goes out to Reagan Youth." So the fact that Glenn's a fan and they were friends, only makes me love them more.
As if you needed a reason, but there you go.
I mean, it's just everything helps, I
And
mean,
then the whole Airheads connection just really makes him way cooler.
takes it to the next level, which was covered actually in our episode with Kirby about
Fake bands.
fake bands from
Oh.
movies. So
I feel like
it was an honorable mention. It didn't make our top 5, but all right.
But Kirby missed out. You ever seen the movie The Beat with the Cro-Mags as the Savage Skulls?
Shit.
That's the best fake band.
We all missed that. We
The
all
worst
missed
movie
it.
ever made, The Beat, but the best live footage of the Cro-Mags
Best
live.
Wait, were they playing as the Cro-Mags or were they a
They were
fake
playing
band?
as I believe it was Savage Skulls.
Savage Skulls. All right.
I think like 3 people died because it was just so fucking
savage.
hardcore. No, really, dude, check out the fucking footage. It's insane.
Dude,
There's people
I
backflipping and spin kicking and smashing shit up. Peter Steele's in it.
Oh, Pete Steele. Yeah. My man.
Who sucks, but anyway, some people might like him.
There might be a fan or two out there. I don't know. Cool. Well, I guess I'm going to get into my number 2 if you guys don't mind.
Go for
Not
it,
at
bro.
all.
Well, let me tell you, this one's near and dear to my heart. This is Sam Hain, a.k.a. Samhain.
So
For all
Ween.
y'all who don't speak Gaelic, it's Samhain. So Samhain's first album, Initium, came out in 1984. And
yeah.
Initium is Latin for the beginning, which is kind of the idea of Samhain is the pagan holiday of which is basically the equivalent to Halloween, but it's the dying of the earth and celebrating the rebirthing of things. So what could make more sense for 1984 than every hardcore band? The Misfits break up, the fucking Minor Threat breaks up. All these hardcore bands are breaking up, and Samhain originally was a super group. So Brian Baker and Lyle from Minor Threat were a part of that, along with Steve Zing and Erie, and actually, bass player from a band that we spoke about earlier, which is totally eluding me right now. Fuck, man, it's gonna come to me. I know it.
Was it Airheads?
I'm fucking Airheads. Fuck, actually, no, it kind of is Airheads. It's actually, it's Reagan Youth. Al Pike from Reagan Youth played bass on one track off this album, which I think was either Horrorbiz or The Shift. So, yeah, anyways, but that's not really the point. It's kind of Samhain, is kind of like, whether they knew it or not, actually really encapsulates the 1984 in a sense, where it's kind of this rebirthing of shit. So it's kind of taking a new approach, the demise of all these old bands, and progressing into something new, doing a new style. And I love this record. Fucking, it looks cool as hell. If you like People Covered in Blood with Devil Locks, which I do because I was a huge Misfits fan and a huge Danzig fan, and still am, actually. So, but I think for me,
Did you ever want to be in a band called the Smithfits?
No, but I saw the Smithfits.
Is that a real thing?
Yeah, Colin Sanders, Nick Vicario, they had a cover band which was all Misfits covers in Manchester. No, it was all Smith songs, but in between the sets, it was all in Jersey accent banter. But anyways, the Smithfits, it happened. But no, Initium is just an incredible record in general. One of my favorite songs on there is Archangel. And that was originally recorded in 1981 as a Misfits song that they were hoping to have Dave Anian from The Damned sing on, which he never got around to doing, and it was shelved. And so, yeah, eventually Glenn pulled it out to do this record. But this really, to me, all of the Samhain stuff is actually probably my favorite era of Danzig. I love Danzig solo stuff, especially the first 4 albums.
Wait, including any Misfits?
Yeah, I prefer all of Samhain over the Misfits as an adult. I like it. It has everything I love about the Misfits, but the progression in itself makes it, I don't know, just a little more palatable to me as an adult now, where I'm just like, this is fucking good still. Where like, I walk into a fucking bar and I hear the Misfits, I walk the fuck out. I'm like, I don't need to be at a bar that's playing the Misfits. Like, I can go to a bar that's playing fucking indie rock for all I care. Like, I don't want to have to walk into a place and hear the same music I was hearing when I was 13, 14 years old.
When I walk into a bar and hear the Misfits, I start fucking raging.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Down to beer.
Well, it depends on the bar.
Especially if it's Famous Monsters.
Yeah, it depends on the Misfits and the bar.
Sure. I mean, for me, it's just like, it's just a little, like, the Misfits are a little too basic at this juncture.
Oh.
They're basic.
Oh, that's cool.
Sam Hain, they're the ones, dude. Samhain is the one.
They had a drum machine at one point, right?
No.
Oh,
never,
they didn't?
Never.
Okay, it's just, yeah. Why did I think?
Because they're so good, it sounds robotic. No, Steve Zing, their first drummer, who I talked to, actually hope to have him on the show one day. But Steve, fucking lovely guy to talk to. Great stories. Totally approachable. Great dude. He was also the drummer, Steve Zing. He was in this band called Morning Noise, which is actually from Jersey, same town, Lodi. at the same time that the Misfits were going on in the early 80s. And it's like the first rip-off Misfits band at the same time from the same town. Like, pretty cool. They have you can find their stuff out there. It's pretty decent. It's more of a novelty, really. They have a split with this band called Parasites, split 7-inch, and some other stuff that I don't think ever came out till later when it was on CD, but it's very good. And Eerie Vaughn was also in a band, hardcore band prior to that called Rosemary's Baby, which is also actually pretty good. But I feel
That's
like
a movie also.
it was, yeah.
Good movie.
Never saw it, but someone told me after the fact, dude, I'm really
It's
into
really-
Rosemary's
it's really
Baby, and they're like,
scary.
oh, I've seen that movie. It's great. I'm like, what movie? What are you talking about? But
It's
yeah,
pretty scary.
I mean, their bands are pretty scary. They're all pretty spooky. Yeah, New Jersey's got something spooky going on in Lodi. Yeah, Initium, great shit. Colin, what do you got? This is your number one.
Number one. We're gonna bring it back. It's connected to Portland, Oregon. It's an acronym: Peace, Energy, Action, Cooperation, and Evolution. Get the first letter from each word, put it together, and it spells peace.
Peace.
The Peace Comp. Dave Dichter from MDC put it out, which I guess he wasn't living here at the time. So, but when I first heard it, he was living here. I knew him. He was a local legend,
Sure.
aka creep. But he was, in the 90s.
Legendary creep here
Yeah,
in
legendary
Portland, Oregon.
creep.
Check him out.
He was cool, and I bought this record at Everyday Music. You used to be able to find records there when I was in 9th grade for $2.10, and this was a double LP, so I got it for $4.20. It's a crazy record. It's crazy,
420.
Crazy simple math, too.
crazy booklet. Taught me about. Let's take it back to Gizm. They're on it. It's the first time I ever heard them. First time I heard Raw Power, BGK. Just a million crazy bands from everywhere. Wretched, Declano, The Dicks, Upright Citizens, The Offenders from Texas, Negazione, Conflict, Crash, Execute, The Boss Cops, Impact, and a million others. And it was just I think it's the first time most people in America heard those bands was from this comp, because a lot of them really didn't. Those records were really hard to find back in the day. I believe AOF was Articles of Faith. I think were on there.
Oh,
we were
yes.
talking about them
that's
earlier.
Sorry.
But Boss Cops, what a great band from Germany. I love them. The Offenders from Texas. Man, that shit is sick.
I've never even heard The Offenders, I don't think. What about
Look.
you, Mina?
Look at this.
I
You
know
have?
one song from a Network of Friends comp.
Yeah, I'm wearing an Offenders pin right now.
Laminate or not laminated.
My home
Laminate.
My homeboy Craig plays in The Offenders, the modern version of The Offenders. But yeah, man, it's just a really cool comp. The Dead Kennedys, Execute from Japan. I mean, every song is just a ripper, and it's bands from everywhere. It was a really great message they wanted to promote.
Peace.
Yep. I was gonna pick the Welcome to 1984 comp instead of this that MRR put out, and then I was looking on Discogs that it was put out in '83, and then finally today I took a look. I had dig it out and look at my copy, and it says it came out in '84. That's a really good comp, also. It's very similar to this, except not this. This just kind of has more crazy stuff. It's crazy that Crass and Gizm were on a record together.
When you were talking about comps from 1984, the first one that came to my mind was the Pusshead comp, Cleanse the Bacteria.
Yeah.
Which had the 3 songs that Siege recorded that were not on their demo.
Full circle, bro.
Full circle.
So '84 may have not been a strong year for bands putting out records, but a great year for comps
Yeah.
from songs from different years, all compiled together on one comp.
Another
Yeah.
great compilation from this year, Discharge, Never Again, which I could not have put on my list because it's a comp. It's
Oh.
not a record.
Oh, shit. Well,
As well as
I wasn't told that. Never Again is good. Many great songs remixed badly. Same drum sound as Initium, where it sounds kind of like a drum machine.
And also
Still a great record.
Tell me it's not your number one.
No.
Oh.
Massacre Divine for sure.
Also the Minor Threat. I guess it's a compilation. Just their first 2 7-inches were released in '84, which that definitely would have made my top 5
Complete
if I
Disorder
counted that as a record.
Complete Disorder was in '84 too. I learned today.
Oh yeah, another comp.
Yeah, a lot of comps coming out in '84 for some reason.
Well, sweet, man. What's your number one, Ian?
My number one. They went to high school, the same high school as my number 2.
What was your number 2?
Reagan Youth.
Oh, okay.
In Queens.
So we're talking New York
Little
City.
band.
Shit.
Called the
What
Ramones.
you talking about?
Tiny band called the Ramones.
The biggest band in my heart. The album is Too Tough to Die.
Sure.
Too Tough to Die.
In my mind, it is the first later era Ramones record. Their 8th record, I believe, following Subterranean Jungle. Everything before I would call mid-era, and this is later Ramones.
Yeah. They brought Tommy back to produce it though.
Yeah.
And that's why it
As
has a
what-
really cool
yeah.
sound.
Yeah.
And Dee Dee is quoted as saying he tried to save the band with Too Tough to Die. So
And he did a
He
good
sang on
job.
2 songs, and they're 2 of his best songs,
Yeah.
Warhog and Endless Vacation.
Mm-hmm.
which was
Dude,
kind of a response actually
Warhog's kind of
to
like, I mean, that's like
That's
kind
their
of a
tough-
hardcore song.
It's their
Well,
toughest
exactly.
song.
That's
So
what I
is
wa-
Endless Vacation.
that's what I
It's kinda
wanted.
like
That's what I
replacements.
wanted to touch on is that the Ramones went through this point where they'd been around for a while and they were actually really scared by this whole hardcore movement that was happening. So their later stuff is actually a direct response to hardcore happening. We're trying to play faster in order to stay relevant to people who were listening to
Who
them.
want them to be tough.
Yeah. Too tough,
Like,
even.
dude, we're still tough. Check this song out, Warhog.
Yeah, check this song out. Howling at the Moon. Sha-la-la-la.
But that's one of the best Ramones
It
songs
is.
ever made.
It
so
is.
I really wanted to put them on my list.
And that's I think
Then
that's
I
what
screwed up and put Celtic Frost on instead. But yes, at least they're on here. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's a really
No,
good
again,
84
what
record.
makes that record so great is the dichotomy, having both a Warthog and a Howling at the Moon.
Yeah. Street Fighting Man. Hell yeah.
That's a bonus track.
Another CD.
My favorite bonus track from that one is definitely the Richie song "Smash You."
Yeah. Smash is a great song.
That would be my top 5 Ramones bonus tracks, but we're not doing that one today.
Not today.
Yeah, there's some low points. The Planet Earth 1988. Also,
You don't like that song?
I would call it a low point. I don't dislike it. I don't hate the song, but also it's funny to me to write a song about the future when the future is only in 4 years.
Yeah.
It's like,
You better be really accurate because as long as it's
I guess,
enough
yeah.
that most people will be dead or forget what your songs sound like, then you might be okay.
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is, the 1975 album Diamond Dogs by David Bowie, the song 1984.
we could do a whole top 5 songs about 84. I feel like.
We could do a whole top 5 about songs about predicting the future or the future. But that's the only one that comes to mind. And I think that was more a reference to the George Orwell book, 1984.
Absolutely, I feel like that's why 84 is such a year, right?
Hell of a year, yeah. People were really they were really hip to it. It's like it was
Maybe
kind
that's
of
why
it
there
was
weren't that
kind
many
of their.
records coming out 'cause people were hiding out. They were
It-
like scared.
It's kind of OG Y2K. You know what I'm
Nothing
saying? Where like
nothing
people
happened, so
people
they
are waiting
started
for shit
making-
to go down.
Big Brother, man.
Yeah.
Another great track off that album, Diamond Dogs by David Bowie.
Yeah. 1984. Dude, it's like now it's like totally here, bro.
It's like wicked fucking retro.
But you know.
Oh, you mean like Big Brother?
Nothing. I don't
Yeah, I'm not sure I have anything else.
To say about Too Tough to Die. Great album cover. That
Yeah,
blue.
it was an accident.
Really?
Yeah, it was a happy accident. But it's so iconic.
Yeah, it is good.
Yeah.
I do love Subterranean Jungle's album cover. It's
Yeah.
like Total Warriors
maybe
style.
the best.
But Too Tough to Die has that weird 80s, like, kind of like near dark look of a silhouette with like blue and fog and backlights on it. you know?
84 was a year of transition.
Yeah.
Year of Big Brother, bro.
And they look a little tougher when you can't see their faces.
Yeah, sure.
All right, Kenton, what's your number one?
Now, so straight up to all you fucking disbelievers who are fucking don't believe hardcore exists in 1984, you think everything that dude.
What the fuck? Crucifix has a single called 1984.
Yeah, well, here's the deal. This record right
Forgot
here,
about that one.
this could be in my top 5 favorite hardcore records of all time, pound for pound, fucking second for second, harder than any fucking record you've probably ever heard if you haven't heard this, because this fucking record rips so goddamn hard. Die Kreuzen's debut LP, Touch and Go Records, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. This is the epitome of hardcore to me. This is fucking, like, today when I was listening to it, I was straight up a teenage fucking idiot, just fucking. I was skanking and moshing fucking by myself, dude. It was like borderline embarrassing if anyone was looking at me. But this record is so fucking good. The guitar is insane. The vocalist is just like, he sounds like a fucking monster. And you look at him and he's like the most tall, gangly, long-haired, fucked up teeth. Like, everything about this band I love. The artwork, the aesthetic, the lyrics of their shit, but more importantly, this record is so fucking hardcore start to finish. There's not a single sleeper on it. This is a full album that, to me, epitomizes the genre. And yeah, it's tragic that they went on to be an alternative rock band, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about 1984, and this record seriously is setting the bar so high. You know, as far as the genre, the only thing that would even be comparable as far as hardcore to me, or is like innovative, is the Siege demo tape that we were talking about earlier. But having an official release by this band, I don't know, man. Like, fucking Die Kreuzen, to me, they're top 5 hardcore for me. Like, this is it. Like, fuck. Like, Rumors, fucking In My Room. Like, it's just like everything about it. It paints such a picture. Like, I'm in it. It's super dark. It's super angry. And I just feel totally at peace and totally destructive at the same time. Like, I just, like, it tears me in every direction while I listen to it. I love it, but I'm also so angry, and it's
That's what
hard.
hardcore should do.
Well, yeah, and also, like, as I'm 33 years old, man. Like, I shouldn't be listening to hardcore and be fucking like pumping my fist like a fucking teenage kid. Like,
Sure,
that's not what most adult men do.
Most adult men suck.
Yeah, well, I can't disagree with you, but this is it, man. I think Die Kreuzen, as far as, like, I started off with what I thought would be a very underrated hardcore band putting out their debut album that doesn't get enough credit, Articles of Faith, but the debut album of Die Kreuzen is straight up as hard as anything that came before it, or harder even. And it's a perfect record. Yeah, I mean, that's it. I'll drop the mic there. It's a perfect record. All right, well, what do you guys think? You want to get into honorable mentions? You got a couple?
Yeah.
Cool. Colin, what do you got?
Honorable mentions. 1984, The Foreskins from Chaos in 1984. Cox Bar, Running Riot in 84. The Bristles, 1984. Merciful Fate, Don't Break the Oath.
Ooh,
Man of
good
War,
Fucking great one.
Hail to England. The Undead, Killing a Reality. English Dogs, Till the Ends of the Earth. And I said this before, but I'm going to say it again. Kronjen, Nowhere to Run. Because most people overlook that record, and Breaking Down It's just one of the most wonderful songs ever. I've always wanted to cover it in a band, but now I'm in a band it wouldn't work with. But
Do it anyways, man.
yeah,
Fuck it.
maybe we will. I know Chris Reed likes that song. Anyway, that's my honorable mentions for the year 1984. Peace.
You have talked my ear off about later Crongen
Yeah.
at Star Bar while I'm DJing.
It's really that sounds cool.
It was.
Also, the Life's a Riot comp. Let's throw that on there. One more comp.
All right.
Riot City. Abrasive Wheels. Hell yeah.
Sweet. Ian, what do you got?
Well, first, 84, big year for metal. Colin
Is.
already mentioned Celtic Frost, but also Bathory, their first record. Judas Priest, Defenders of the Faith.
Sure, yeah.
Iron Maiden, Power Slave.
Scorpions, Love at First Sting.
Yeah, I thought you might have that on your list, but
It is. That's why I want to throw it in there
All
since
right,
we're talking
yeah.
about metal.
Well, I thought it might make the
the
top 5
top 5? No, I mean, it's great, but for 84, there's a lot happening that year.
Yeah. Also, post-hardcore bands. Minutemen, Double Nickels on the Dime.
First album, 84.
Run DMC's first album was.
That's on my
1984.
honorable mention. Yeah, 1984.
Yeah.
God, their new song really sucks. It's about masking up. It's like the worst thing I've ever heard. It's really sad. But anyway, their first record's really good.
Their first 3 are really good. But yeah, the only
The
one
fourth
was in
one's
84.
their best one.
There's probably a really good
What's the
Fat
fourth one?
Boys record
Tougher
from
Than Leather?
1984.
Oh, okay, yeah.
There's probably a really good Fat Boys record from 1984, but I didn't bother checking. But I bet there is.
But yeah, you were saying Minutemen.
Minutemen, Big Boys.
Big Boys, yeah, totally. The no matter how long the line at the cafeteria, there's always a seat.
That's the one.
Top 5 longest album names for sure.
Yeah. I already said Meat Puppets. Yeah, what do you got?
I had a couple of those on there, but I've got a laundry list here, so I'll give you the highlight reel, which is Husker Du Zen Arcade, which I think is my favorite Husker Du record.
I was surprised neither of you nerds threw that on there earlier. So,
Is it their first?
First record? No.
No. Oh, okay.
it is really good. And I'm saying this as a guy who always thought Husker Du kind of sucked.
Yeah.
That record is really, really good.
That's what I'm saying. It's my favorite record because, like, I'm not a huge Husker Du guy, but it's my go-to record when I want to, like, when I listen to them. That's my one. Another one for me is the Gun Club, Las Vegas Story.
Yeah.
It's like
I thought about putting that on there.
I think it's worth talking about because it's fucking cool. I feel like too many people get hung up on, Fire of Love, but really like Miami is like fucking a great record too. But so is Las Vegas Story. I think it deserves to be talked about. And getting into the more world of thrash is Corrosion of Conformity, Eye for an Eye. That record fucking rips.
Toxic Shock.
Fuck
Ooh.
yeah.
Yeah. Many bands have on the Peace Comp from Toxic Shock.
Another one would be Black Flag's My War.
Also slip it in.
Also Family Man, actually. I don't think Slip It In is the same year.
Sorry.
But Family Man, definitely the better of the two records. So you're right. I should have brought up that. It's definitely harder to listen to in the sense of where it's hard.
I remember checking that tape out from the library when I was a kid and hating it so much.
Which one? Family Man?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so like getting back to My War, My War could have been on my top 5 if it was just the B-side. If the A-side of My War didn't exist, or if it was just the B-side on both sides, then it would be a perfect record, in my opinion. So, yeah, that's another one for honorable mention. And also, like, this one goes back to my youth. I don't listen to it as much or ever as much as I used to when I was younger, but 7 Seconds, The Crew.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Also
fucking-
on the Cleanse the Bacteria comp.
Very good. Very good. Yeah, Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, From Her to Eternity. I mean, like, I love it as like a Bad Seeds record. I don't love Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds as much as I love the Birthday Party. That is, for me, that's the ultimate era. But
What about Boys Next Door? You like them?
yeah, I mean they only have the one album, but it's good. But for me, the Birthday Party's more my shit.
That makes sense. You know, seeing as what we've already covered tonight.
Sure, and then yeah, I mean, I guess for me, I guess that's it. I mean, Susie and the Banshees.
You're an avant-garde kind of guy.
Had a record that year as well, which is the last one that Robert Smith played on, of the Cure fame. But I mean, it's not one of my favorite Susie and the Banshee records, but it's just more of an honorable mention.
It just came out in '84.
Came out in '84. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so ultimately, I guess that's kind of.
I forgot about English Dog's Invasion of the Porky Man, because if we're going to talk about '84 becoming a turning point record, that was when the English Dogs split. The old boner punk version of the English Dogs, and then the metal version of the English Dogs. Invasion of the Porky Man also has that great Clay Records drum machine weird sound that they developed in 1984 on the Never Again comp by Discharge. It's like, sounds like a drum machine. It just is the most soulless, crappy drums ever. And I was surprised
Triggers, I would guess.
I was surprised to know that. But I do love the record. It's really cool. Wakey, it was his last record with the band, and then they kicked him out and went on to the Ends of the Earth, which is one of the bitchinest fucking, proto thrash records ever made. You can tell they all had crimped hair in the Porky Man record, and he didn't know what was coming. They already had a new guy ready to replace him. Put it out the same year. Who would have thunk? They already had those songs written, probably recorded. So we'll just think about that. That's the iconic '84. That's what '84 is all about.
Yeah, fucking
Going in a different direction.
Going through changes by Black Sabbath, 1984. One of my favorite records.
Changes is a really great song.
It is. It is.
When I was a teen,
Getting puked.
I do know. I was a teen. I remember.
That song would come on. I'd be hungover at my mom's place. The shades down. That weird song, like crappy sound effects. Well, that FX, that would come on after. But changes would. Both of them are really bad when you're coming down off speed. And you're 15.
Well, right on. Well, do you guys want to do a game of top 5 or yes, no?
What do you think, Colin?
Sure. You have to go. What are we doing?
Any other
Let's go
suggestions?
replacements.
Okay. Sure.
All right, replacements. Top 5.
Songs of all time?
All time.
Well,
What
your favorite songs?
No, what
most
you think the
played
most
songs
played
on
songs
Spotify?
on Spotify are. So just rack your brain for the most popular songs.
Maybe Waitress in the Sky.
Okay.
Bastards Are Young, I don't know if that would be
I
that
think that
popular.
would probably make it,
okay,
yeah.
maybe it would.
Be
Gary's Got a
online.
Boner probably isn't off the top played.
I don't think so.
Unless, yeah.
Unless you're on there every day.
I don't think I even know 3 other replacement songs. I'm going to go with Gary Got a Boner, We're Coming Out, and Dyslexic Heart, which I think is just Paul Westerberg's single solo from the single soundtrack, which my mom owned when I was a kid.
I know you know a couple more replacement songs. But that's
care.
just fine, buddy. All right, I got number 5, I Will Dare. Number 4, Unsatisfied. Bastards of Young, Alex Chilton, and Can't Hardly Wait.
Oh, I thought you had to choose different ones than me.
No,
we're
just
guessing the most played on Spotify.
most played. So,
Now that I mean, I'm going
well, I'm going to get in my top 5 here. This is really in no particular order because I couldn't really think about it. But I think Kiss Me on the Bus might be on there. Alex Chilton, Bastards of Young, Swingin' Party, Can't Hardly Wait. So
I'm already gonna say "Can't Hardly Wait" probably is the most played one, and Alex Chilton might be second.
That's what I have.
Even though I didn't pick either of those, but I
And you do
oh
know them both.
fuck! I went against my better judgment here because now I got it queued up. So the most played song actually is "Swingin' Party," with 17.5 mil, and then the number 2 with 13 mil is "Androgynous" off of "Let It Be," which is actually what I was thinking about putting on instead of "Kiss Me on the Bus."
no
So
one likes Gary's Got a Bone.
shaking my head. So "Can't Hardly Wait" and number 3 with almost 10. Well, actually, so never mind. Actually, we're gonna go by the number here. So number 3 would be Alex Chilton with 10 million. And then number 4 would be "Can't Hardly Wait" with
That's crazy. There was a
9
movie called
million.
Can't Hardly Wait.
Yeah.
And
And number 5 is "Bastards of Young."
really,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
You got 3 out of 5.
I got 4 out of 5, and you got 1 out of 5.
Yeah. Well,
Congratulations,
fuck the
everyone.
replacements. Not in my top 5.
I'd like to see you try, Colin.
Hey, Colin, you got anything coming up? We're going to talk about the new Long Knife record?
We have a record. We've been working on it for way too long. Still working on it for some reason. Just keep on going back, just out of boredom at this point. But it'll be out someday. Someday soon. New album. Yeah. Shout out to Keith Testerman, Keith's dad, Scott Godo, Scott's dad, and Chris Reed, my friend Chris, and his son, his new son Jack.
Hey, Colin, thanks so much for joining us. This was fun.
Hell yeah. It's nice to see you guys.
Thanks, Colin.
Welcome to 1984. Peace out, guys.
Gary's got a boner. 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 Boner.
This has been a Top 5 production, produced by Kenton McDonald. Our theme song was by Ian Howe. Our logo artwork is from Andrew Colgan at Studio AYC. Edited by Kenton McDonald with editing assistance from Ian Howe. And a very big thank you to Andrew Bassett for today's outro music. And if you'd like to request a criteria, you can email us at podcast.topfive@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.